Hello everyone, just a quick word from your friendly editor/husband. For all of you who listen to So I'm Watching This Show and own an Android device, do me a favor. Go to the Google Play Store and download the Podcast Republic app. It's a fantastic app that allows you to get all of your favorite podcasts directly on your Android devices. I use the app and love it. I can search for the podcasts I want to listen to, select them as favorites, and have them all just a click away. Make sure you set So I'm Watching the Show as a favorite so you don't miss any new episodes. Again, the app is Podcast Republic, available on your Android device. Thanks!
The fireworks are already going off, and so she's like, oh.
Yeah, here too.
Can you help me? Will you help me?
Please, sir.
She's a Chihuahua, and so her voice that I would give her used to be like Dania Ramirez from Devious Maids.
Okay.
And then I decided that might be racist, or at least insensitive for the climate. So it morphed into like a Judy Garland thing over time.
I prefer the Judy Garland.
We must be up inside the cyclone. You're fine, sweetheart. You're fine. She wants to be.
My heels.
You don't need my help.
What's her name? What's that one's name? Nicole something?
Nicole Parker.
Nicole Parker, yeah.
She was one of the greats and never quite took off, but...
How about for Bianca?
Yeah, maybe. Remember I told you she played Elphaba in Hollywood in the,
nice.
the Los Angeles production of Wicked.
Awesome, yeah. You little glitter bitch!
You psycho glitter bitch! Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristen.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show. I forgot we were doing a job. We're doing a show.
Well, I am drunk on the job.
Are you really?
A little.
And this feels like a role reversal. I wanted to thank you and tell everybody what an amazing friend and partner I have, because you're always on time and you always have your shit together, and I'm constantly like a Looney Tune cartoon trying to get to the finish line. And
meanwhile, I've had 3/4 of a bottle of wine, and so this is a really weird thank you.
Well,
you're welcome for being so great.
Yeah, you started at like 4:30, and I was like, I'll need 2 hours, and then it's like 7 hours later. I'm like, I'm almost ready. Because they wanted to watch it, and then like the neighbors came over 3 times, so, like bringing stuff, and it was like a whole big thing. My dad kept giving us updates from the fucking president from the parade, and
gross.
Yeah, it was like a lot, but...
Well, if it helps you at all, I am putting my marriage on the line, because Will was like, I'm going to just keep watching it in the office. And I was like, the fuck you are.
Sorry, I'm so sorry, Will.
I was like, this is the first time we won't have watched this show together. That's unacceptable.
He does so much. I'm so sorry. Well, so now we're trying to record, and there's going to be like fireworks and stuff all over the place. But yes, hello everybody. I guess so. We are talking about season 3 of Stranger Things. We'll see how it goes. We're going to try and check in like probably every 2 episodes or something, a little bit more like how we did the Society. So
yeah.
So episodes 1 and 2 were, the first episode was Susie, Do You Copy? And the second episode was Mallrats. Mallrats. I get it.
I can't believe it took you till now to get it.
Do you remember that time when the VMAs were in Miami and the like commercials were the little moon men in bikinis running around?
Yeah.
And I was like, this is so stupid. And you were like, why? And I was like, I get that it's in Miami, but why are the moon men wearing bikinis? Just because it's like Miami? And you looked at me and I was like, oh, I had to say it out loud for it to click. Also, I've been complaining for like 4 weeks about that Hervé Pag-Jazz song Spicy with Charlie XCX. Because I'm like, what the fuck does Spicy have to do with any of it?
Spice Girls.
Yeah, the Spice Girls.
Doy.
I literally got it like the other day. And I was like, that's so funny.
That was like my literal first instinct.
Yeah, no, I just got there.
Well, it's just as good as the time that you kept on telling me that your favorite drag queen was Sharon Needles.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, that's hilarious. And you were like, well, I mean, I like it. Why is it hilarious? And I was like, because she's Sharon Needles. And you were like, oh my God.
No, I didn't get that either. But so, okay. Guest diving in, we are in 1984, so it's been, a year and a half?
Now. It's 85 now.
I thought it was 84, but okay,
The Russia stuff is from before season 2. Will and I had a whole conversation about it.
Okay.
Because the first season was in
83.
November 83, and then at the end of season 1 we had Christmas 83, and then the next season was Halloween 84. And this is the summer after that. So it's season 3 is 1985.
It's roughly appropriate. The timeline is
roughly appropriate, exactly.
Interesting. One of my favorite things so far about this show is that, the way that traditional television shows have ran, you only get certain holiday episodes. You really only get Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, and maybe something for Valentine's Day. And that's usually it. And I like that with this show running not so much year round, but alternating. It's we're getting it's kind of fun as a summer show.
Yeah, definitely.
But it was also fun as a Halloween show. And so it's back. I'm enjoying it. We really liked, and you two a little bit more than me, but in general, we really liked season 2 as well. I know some people were kind of over it by that point.
I really liked season 2. Here's the thing. I think the whole thing is great, and I think it does suffer a little bit from the sophomore season of a show where the first one was so surprising and shocking and crazy.
The excitement isn't there, yeah.
Where it's yes, I think season 2 was equally good story-wise, but I understand how you would be let down because there's no possible way it can be as new and fresh and brilliant as the first season.
Mm-hmm. I think a second favorite thing of mine about this show is how, and we actually were talking about this yesterday, about how in a fun, kind of cool, exciting way, we're living in a post-genre world where this is such a mashup of genres.
Well, it's a teen show and it's a supernatural show and it's a little
everybody's
bit of an adult
in different shows.
Yes, yeah.
It's Nancy and Jonathan are in an 80s
spy show.
Well, I was even going to say a slasher,
Yeah, okay, sure.
And then the kids are in a Spielberg movie, and it's they're all in slightly different genres.
Yeah.
So Dustin was at science camp,
right?
And he came back. Do we think Susie's real?
If Susie's not real, Dustin went through a lot of trouble.
Okay.
I think she's got to be real.
Uh-huh.
But we haven't even heard her voice yet.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know.
I changed my mind 5 times in the first episode alone.
You did what, 5 times?
I changed my mind 5 times.
Well, the thing is I think Dustin gets made fun of by the rest of them enough that I don't think he'd make up a fake girlfriend and then make his friends build a radio tower in the middle of a field just to have her be fake.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I think she's real. And then I think also having the Russian message come through kind of confirms it also, because it's if somebody just was on the other end of the radio all of a sudden, I would think that he made a deal with someone to pretend to be his girlfriend. But the fact that it's gotten intercepted multiple different ways, I think she's real.
Okay.
So maybe we'll meet her by the end. Who knows?
So what is the stuff with the Russians? I was confused there.
Well, they were trying to open a similar portal.
Okay.
To the Upside Down.
And you said that was between season 1 and 2.
Yes.
And 11 was Russian? No, she was...
No, 11's not Russian.
Why were they inquiring about her then?
Oh, probably just because they know about her.
Okay. I thought somewhere one of them said something about I thought somebody said something about the Russian girl, and I was because I was she's not... I was there was that whole thing about her parents, and...
Well, even the people in Hawkins thought she was Russian. Because remember, Mr. Wheeler kept on being maybe she's from the Russians.
Oh, yeah.
In season 1, so that could be why.
This season appears to have an even more increased budget than season 2.
Yep.
In a nice way. And I can't even begin.
I do and don't like it.
Oh, really? I just like it at this point.
I do like it, but I feel like it is losing some of the quaintness that made season 1 what it was. Mm-hmm. But I'm totally fine with it. I don't have a problem with it. I just feel like they're leaning increasingly away from the things that made it what it was. And I think I'm not mad about it because I think it's morphing into something different, and it's not increasing 20-fold every season. So I still think it works. I still conceivably believe this exists in the same world as season 1.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm good.
So obviously we haven't finished the season, but what do you think the show, as of now, do you have any predictions for the show? What do we think it's building to? Do we think it's like a 4 or 5 season show? Or
well,
I feel like they have to become young adults.
Well, the Duffers have always said it's 4 seasons.
4. I like that a lot.
So I think it'll end next season where
year.
like the kids are going to be like 15.
Yeah, or in like a year and a half. Okay.
Or whatever, yeah.
I like that. I think that that's nice.
But I do also think this could be the type of show where, like, I am also concurrently watching Veronica Mars again for the new stuff to come out. I believe this show, should everybody be willing to come back, could be the type of thing that we check in with every 5 years.
Mm.
You know?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the type of thing people are going to be clamoring for more for, like, a long time. And I believe that a lot of the people would be willing to keep coming back to do, like, reunions and stuff. So it could conceivably go forever, but I think they have said that the story is 4 seasons long.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and I cannot explain how many feels all of the mall stuff is giving me.
I was going to ask you. I was going to be like, how bad do you want to go to a mall right now?
I was like, and I'm not joking, I was like raised in malls, and we were the kids in like 99, 2000, 2001 where we would go to the mall after school. Like I went to the mall probably 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, we were the mall rats.
Yeah, you and me too. Because do you remember that one summer when I went through the shoplifting phase?
Yeah, because I was right there with
like
you.
The
I
most
still have
scared.
that glitter.
It was the most scared you'd ever been. You thought that the like sensors were in the walls and stuff.
Well, I thought they were in the doorways.
Well, no, just those things. Regardless, I only did it.
I was going to go to mall jail stealing that glitter, and I didn't. Thank God.
Yeah, that was just one of those like little, like I was pretty one and done. So, but yeah, everything about it, and all the people and all the stores and all the sounds, and I can almost even smell it. Like,
yeah. Well, there was a Gap and there was a Sam Goody. I saw all the fun things.
My first job was in a Sam Goody, and when Steve was taking them back. Like, I wanted to say backstage, but
in the tunnels or whatever. Not tunnels, but
I
the
remember.
hallways,
yeah, we had to do that to get to work and stuff, and them sneaking into the movie theater. And when the movie theater, what movie were they watching?
Day of the Dead.
Okay, I was like, I've seen that graphic before, but when the film reel stopped, well, it ended up stopping because of the power outage.
Yeah.
But I said to Corey, I was like, that actually used to happen in movies.
Yeah.
And she was like, really? And I was like, yes, not a ton, but it depended on what theater you were at.
Now it only might happen in a Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah. So Billy, that is his name, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Dacre.
Billy is a lifeguard.
Boy, howdy.
I feel like you have stuff to say about this.
Karen Wheeler's evolution as a character is like my favorite thing that's been committed to television in the last 5 years.
Well, you remember in season 1 where she got, because the cast was the title cards were pretty sparse. It was 6 of them.
Yeah.
And we were like, oh, and Cara Buono? Right. Where did that?
And now she's the only one. So it's Winona Ryder and David Harbour, and then all of the kids
are paired,
are in 2s, and then it's just Cara Buono at the end by herself.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, has she earned it.
Well, I was going to say, we thought it was so weird, and it's it feels like it gives me so much faith in their 4 seasons plan that I was like, they really had kind of an arc for some of this. Because
they really did, because the fact that she went from this really middle of the road
traditional housewife,
Reagan Bush 80s housewife to she's this little her hair has gotten blonder every season. She's reading all these romance novels. She's such a sex pot. She is seriously considering an affair with a 17-year-old boy that goes to the same high school as her daughter.
Mm-hmm.
The way she's acting, the way she's presenting herself, everything she's doing, it's hysterical.
I was genuinely concerned that he had done something to her in that flash where he hit her head, and I was they're not gonna tap her out here.
You would hope not, but honestly, who knows?
Well, so okay, what do we? I don't want to go on. We've probably prattled on for 20 minutes now, but only 15. We can't go on forever. But what the fuck is happening this season?
Well, he's been taken over.
Well, has he, or is there a tethered?
Well, okay, yes, it does feel kind of tethered. He's been either taken over or swapped. for a Billy clone. But I don't think he's been swapped because he like he doesn't know to stay out of the sun and stuff. And it's like last season where it was like he likes it cold and he's like in the sun and burning his elbow and shit. So it's like, I don't know. I can't decide if he's swapped or if it like laid something in him. That's like taking
right.
him over.
Yes. Okay. I even have that note down. The alien. It looked like it laid like an egg in him or something.
Yeah, it did a face hugger thing on his mouth.
Yeah. I forgot about that already. But and because when we saw him in the Upside Down, part of me was like, oh my god, I wonder if we're going to see Barb again. They're going to bring Shannon Purser back at some point. Amazing. I mean, I wasn't one of the Barb people. I was totally fine with how they ended that in season 2. But there was a part of me that was sort of like, oh, are there like body swappers or body snatchers?
I agree with you with the tethered thing because it felt kind of like that for a minute. Mostly because when he first was down there was like a group of like humanoid looking things walking towards him. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh shit, is that like everybody? I'm very curious. And but also, I know at least he is operating under the influence of the Upside Down.
And also there is a lot of rats that keep like liquefying, and that scene happened right as we sat down with our food, with our burgers and hot dogs.
Yep, I was eating pizza.
It was so gross.
Super gross. I made a tweet because I was like, don't watch this if you're eating anything with red sauce because it'll be disgusting. It was a bad move on our part.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like Billy. It's very in my brand. It's very much my MO. Look with your special eyes. So we have, I don't really know what Nancy and Jonathan are doing. They're like working for like the local paper, and it's pretty standard Melanie Griffith, like working girl stuff.
Yeah. A little bit of what's the one with Holly Hunter? Broadcast news.
Yeah, I was gonna say I wouldn't know.
A little bit of that.
And he's like taking photographs, and they're investigating. Well, they were like trying to investigate the shops because the mall came in and ran out all the stores.
Right.
And then they met a literal Pixar character, and she like took them down to their basement, and the rats.
She did look just like Carl from Up.
The rats were eating the manure, and then one of them exploded and did something. I don't know. Not that I'm not enjoying it, but I'm just sort of like, wake me up when we get to the point with them.
I was going to say, Nancy and Jonathan and Steve always seem to be a little bit on the outside, but specifically Nancy and Jonathan, because last season Steve was in there with Dustin almost the whole time, and this season he's already in there with Dustin and the new girl who I like.
Steve was the hot shot.
Yeah.
In season 1, and then they replaced him with Billy, and so it's like it feels like even Steve himself is having like a crisis of character. Mm-hmm. And so he's working at the mall with that girl Robin, who she's fine. I'll probably end up liking her more, but she feels a little insist upon us at the moment.
Well, right now, but I think she's earning her keep.
Mm-hmm. I don't love Hopper's arc.
Okay. I am allowing it because the show takes place in the 1980s, and this is the way a 1980s father would deal with his teenage daughter going out on dates. However, with the like sexual openness that this show has displayed the rest of the time, I am getting pretty butthurt about the fact that Hopper won't let Eleven and Will just make out in her bedroom. The door is open. They're also 13. I don't think they're going to start having actual sex. Just
Are
like,
they meant
let
to be
it happen.
13?
13 or 14. I mean, Millie is 15 and Finn is 16.
Okay, then I would go ahead and say they're like 14. But
14, fine, whatever. Regardless, I still don't think they're going to start having sex, but it bums me out the way he's acting, because in the first place, she's not his actual daughter. Mm-hmm. He, like, technically adopted her, but she also, if Mike was doing something she didn't want, I think she'd probably make his brain explode. Mm-hmm. So it really is, like, in a gross, creepy, I own my child's sexuality type of way. It's creeping me out, and I don't like it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it does work for the time period.
Well, yeah, but I was going to say, it also seems like across the board, he's starting to spiral out a little bit.
Well, Joyce won't give him the time of day.
Yeah.
I'm annoyed about that, too.
Yeah, I don't know.
She is still very sad about Bob, though.
He just had a line where he didn't say this, but it was very like, I am the law. And I was like, right. I don't know if I like where this is going.
I I hope he doesn't go, like, full off the deep end, although in the trailer, the, like, full trailer, the one that came out just, like, 2 weeks ago, the, like, voiceover that sounded like it was coming from the monster sounded like his voice to me.
Mm.
So I wonder if he's getting taken over also.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I'm, like, maybe that, I mean, that would justify it for sure. And let us keep liking Hopper, but right now he is trying my patience. The way he acted with Mike was not great.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't care for it.
We also have Mayor Carrie Ellis. Mayor Klein, I think his name was.
Yeah.
Oh, we don't really have anything to say. We were just introduced to him.
Yeah,
Appropriate casting.
Totally appropriate casting. Will made a comment the other day that it seemed like he was going to be like the mayor in Jaws.
Mm-hmm.
Where he was, like, just ignoring the problem for, like, too long.
Mm-hmm. I like that. He looks pretty good. I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he looks good. I think a couple of years ago it looked like he was getting too much work done, but he either stopped or it really, like, evened it out.
Mm-hmm.
He looks good now.
How did you feel? Did you have any passionate feelings about Max and 11 going to the mall?
I did.
Did it make you feel like when we were 14?
I had many passionate feelings about it. The first being that it's just the cutest that, like, 11 showed up to her and was like, can we talk? And then they started bonding. And then Max was like, you need to figure out what's good for you, girl. And then they went and had this, like, shopping montage. And friggin' 11 got, like, a boss little romper with geometric 80s shapes on it.
Literally everything that 11 was wearing, I want to wear.
Right?
Like, I was like, I would totally wear that, like romp him or whatever they're calling him.
So I loved all of that. I loved that 11 has gotten over her, like, little twinge of jealousy that she had last season when she, like, wasn't giving Max the time of day. I am 100% here for this friendship between the two of them. I had a lot of strong feelings about it. I thought it was great.
I feel like they're going to get in trouble. They're going to get in a lot of trouble, the two of them together.
I mean, fine. But, like, 11 deserves it. She
Max
deserves to
like
get in some normal trouble.
Max seems like an in over her head type of girl.
I don't know. She seems to be corralling Lucas pretty well.
Yeah. Although they've apparently broken up 5 times, so.
Well, she's broken up with him 5 times.
Mm-hmm.
I think she knows exactly what she's doing.
Okay. What was Joyce doing? I missed that.
With
she
the
went
magnets?
to talk. Yeah.
So the magnets fell off her fridge at home and she was curious about it. And then they did it at the store also. And she was like, well, that's friggin' weird. So she went to the science teacher and he was explaining about electromagnetic fields and stuff.
Okay.
And so this is like leading into like whatever's happening or has happened in Russia and whatever's happening with Billy is going to like localize in Hawkins and it's messing up the magnetic fields.
Okay. And so at the end of the episode, Robin and Steve and
Dustin.
I keep wanting to say Gavin, and it's
well,
Dustin.
His name is Gaten.
Yeah, okay. They were able to kind of decode the Russian. God, can you remember before the internet?
I know, right?
The week is long. The silver cat feeds when blue meets yellow in the west.
Yeah.
So we'll see what that means.
Well, it's certainly some kind of code about like a meeting or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like we're gonna lose somebody. I just do.
I do too, but it's mostly because I saw some stuff on Twitter.
Oh, I have not.
People who were like, "I'm so sad."
Oh, okay. Well, so we are definitely going to lose somebody. Who do you think it's going to be?
Well, based on being that sad, it's got to be somebody big.
It's got to be Steve or Jonathan, you know?
No, I think bigger than that. I think like 11 or Mike or Hopper.
Maybe Hopper. It's not going to be 11 or Mike, I don't think. We'll see.
I don't think there's a show
Millie Bobby Brown could cut, but
I don't think Millie Bobby Brown would cut. I think Finn Wolfhard could go, and I think honestly Will could go.
Yeah, Mike or Will, I guess.
Yeah,
but or Will, I don't know.
I know all he wants to do is play Dungeons and Dragons. He's the only one without a girlfriend,
and because isn't he like still kind of tethered in his own right? Like, doesn't he still have it in him?
Yeah, that's why he keeps grabbing the back of his neck because he like can feel the Demogorgon looking at him.
Okay. So many Eye of Sauron. There's so many, like, in a good way. There's so many allusions to sci-fi fantasy all throughout this thing. So, okay, cool. I feel good. Do you want to stop there and then check in around episode 4?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Well, I will talk to you then.
Alrighty, bye.
Okay, and 13 full minutes later, we are ready. It was like my computer just wouldn't acknowledge. Like I couldn't get it to wake up. It was a gray screen for like 3 minutes. And then it was pinwheeling for about 7. And I couldn't get either Skype or GarageBand to load or close. And I was freaking out because the whole time I was like, this is what computers do before they die.
Yeah.
And usually I get like impatient and like force shut it down, and that's when it just completely dies. So I just tried to ride it out, and
yeah.
it finally, after 13 minutes, it let me like close everything. So, well, we're also both, I don't know about you, but I'm kind of a wreck. We were out all day. I am definitely exhausted and sun-kissed, and that's code for hungover and sunburned.
Hungover and sunburned. I feel okay. I just am like the most full I've ever been in my life.
Still?
Yeah.
I'm like the worst because I'm full. I like have the desire for more food, but I want more.
Yeah.
And there is more, but
yeah, there is.
Well, I was desperate to talk because I want to keep watching stuff, but also Corey and I watched these last night, and so I'm kind of like, I don't even remember, but I wrote my notes, like I kind of took chronological notes, so I think we'll just touch on what we can recall, and from there we'll move forward.
3 and 4.
Yep. The case of the missing lifeguard was 3, and then the sauna test was 4, so I'm super into this season. Do you have any? Okay.
Yeah.
I already mentioned this. I think it's more stylish, and it's certainly glossier in its style. Yeah. In a way that season 1 was a bit more, like the movies from the 80s and stuff.
Yeah, like an actual 80s thing.
Mm-hmm. And I think bringing in, the mall and all the fashion and stuff, because we're in 85 now, and I don't know, I'm just really into it. I want everything. And it's mostly just one romper, but every time I see it, I want 11's romper.
Me too.
I am so far impressed with their ability to bring in more characters, and somehow it feels like by bringing in more characters, we're fleshing things out.
Well, there's really only the one new character this season, which is Robin.
Yeah.
There's like some new presences besides her, but it's like just Robin. Yeah,
but even, Max and Billy don't feel like hangers-on. Right. In the way that, like, sometimes, and this is an odd comparison, but, like, with Desperate Housewives, if they would bring in a new housewife for a season, after her season, it's like, what's she still doing here? Like,
yeah. I will say I am absolutely living, and I think I said it already, but this friendship between Max and 11...
Well, it's just such a well done, as far as I'm concerned, and much needed female perspective from this genre, because very, very frequently there's like the lone female girl in the losers club. And it's like, so by bringing in some of the other girls and, Max and 11, but also Robin and Karen Wheeler and even Erica, it's like
Erica is amazing.
Are you loving Erica?
I am loving Erica. Her like samples at the ice cream shop. I just love it. Everything about it.
The sample thing, I was like, oh God. I was like, we don't need this character. This is going to be so obnoxious.
It's hilarious though.
And now she's so good. It's like so funny. So, well, I guess we'll start.
You already tasted the peppermint stick and I want to taste it again. It's so good.
Well, to go in order, I have that the girls were spying on the boys, which, I mean, we've said several times that one of our favorite episodes of South Park is the one where we get to see the girls, like the Margarine episode, or where we get glimpses into the girls' reality, and I love it. And the stuff, I've already said this in this coverage, but I do love Billy, and it's like... I am so into the mullet, and like he just straight looked like Jason in the Argonauts when he was like in the shower and stuff. Oh.
He did. He really did.
And it's like scary. So we're dealing with like an actual invasion of the body snatchers thing. Is that what's happening?
That's what Will and I think. Yeah. Because I was like, this is like the faculty, because it's like a pod person thing.
Well, and that's part of the fun of the show, is that it is like one part new, like advancement of genre, and like 2 parts montage. So it's like, it's not so much that it's giving us something we've never seen before, we get some of that, or it certainly is like subverting the genre, but it also, we talk about this a lot where it's like part of subversion sometimes is when you lean into cliches and tropes and stuff. And so
it's like it's not something we haven't seen before, but it's like a different ratio of ingredients.
Or even it's like by doing something, you know, that we've seen before, we do something different along with it. Because it's like, we're dealing with them. Well, even just like whatever this creature is, when it like was like face hugging Billy, and I was like, oh, this is just Alien. And so it's like, it's not a ripoff. It's like 1 part ripoff, like 2 parts homage, like, 3 parts moving forward to the next. And I think it's kind of interesting that if you ask me, there's a metaphor at foot. And it's that this season reflects sexuality because the kids are growing up and coming into their sexuality. And meanwhile, there's a villain that face hugs the teenagers and like the older adults and puts something inside of them and changes them. So they're the same, but different, not unlike. See, you see?
Puberty?
Yeah, see where I'm going?
I see where you're going.
So I'm going to tell this story. It's a little bit dodgy, but when I was watching this with Corey, she asked me, she said something about, is Will, I'll just go ahead and say this. She said, is Will gay, the character? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, I feel like we're not really going there on the show. And I was like, and I think it's irresponsible to talk about children's sexuality and stuff. So I was like, I didn't have a conversation with her. It ended there. It didn't. But I was like, you know, we'll see, whatever. And she just was kind of like, oh, okay. And I was like, I don't think the show is going to touch on that. And then not 10 minutes later, Mike and Will had that fight. And or was it Lucas?
No, it was Mike.
It was Mike. And Mike was just like, it's not my fault you don't like girls. And both Corey and me went, oh! Like, we were like, oh, shit. And so I asked you and your husband, Will, I was like, are they going there with the show? And both of you were kind of like, I don't know. Like,
they're not going there. And I think that's the beauty of that particular scene, because I think you can read it both ways, where you can read it as like Will has said something to Mike in the intervening time since the last season.
Well, I even kind of
like
that.
Boys, but it also just could be, I don't like girls yet.
And that's the thing, is I'm wondering to what extent, if we are going down this path, how far down are we going to go? Because I was thinking even the opposite. I was thinking that it was unspoken between the two of them, or even all of the boys. Like if we were to do that, I think the other boys would have clearly figured it out, but they hadn't. No one had actually
just
said
wouldn't
anything
say
yet.
anything.
And because the second he does say it, he was like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And Will was just like out, like completely disengaged. Like, and it was good. It was shocking.
It was really good. Because that's the other thing too, is we were like, well, maybe because of his experience in the Upside Down, he's just been like arrested at a younger like brain space,
mentally or emotionally. Yeah,
and he can't like get to that jump yet. So I don't know, it could go either way. I don't think it's like important to the character, but it's like some interesting shading that I like.
Well, I mean, I would absolutely welcome it. And I mean, this is a slightly provocative show, you know. It certainly is scary, like it certainly is intense. And you know, we are dealing with coming of age sexuality, which is in the healthiest way possible. I cannot stress this enough. It's something we find fascinating,
right,
you know, in a Peter Pan sort of way. So it I'm very impressed with that so far. And all the kids are doing a great job. And actually, even before that topic, I just wrote down that I am Will. And the note I wrote was clearly gay and also trying to make my friends live in an alternate fantasy life.
I felt so bad for Will in this episode, in both these episodes, to be honest. All he wants to do is like have a day with his buddies and play D&D in the basement. That's all he wants to do. And it seems like he's doing everything right, because it's like, you know, Lucas is sort of on the outs with Max right now, and Mike got dumped by 11, and so he's like, cool, we can just hang out and do this, and then they won't shut up about their girlfriends, and then they don't want to play, and then they're being really sarcastic, and he's like so into it. I felt so bad for him. All he wants to do is sit there and play Dungeons and Dragons. It's just really a bummer.
I wrote it sincerely. I forgot until you just said this, but I kept writing G and G in my notes.
Oh.
So I did want to say, moving on a little bit, is it a requisite that you have to be a jerk in order to be a lifeguard in Hawkins?
I mean, I think it's a requisite that you have to be a jerk to be a lifeguard in any 80s movie, so.
And then, as always, I forget what they call it, the like weird in-between world that Elle can go to when she's spying on them.
Oh, does that have a name?
I felt like they called it something. Whatever it is so well done, especially
so cool.
the scene with Heather. And at first I was like, I'm not even going to bother to learn her name. And then I was like, oh, we're going to have to deal with Heather.
She's in it.
Like on the show.
Like in it.
So, I have a note that just says fucking Bob. Do we want to go there?
Don't be mean to Bob. Bob was great. Bob ended up being great. You can't argue that Bob ended up being great.
I honestly, at this point, don't really remember, but we were watching season 2 and it was before we were podcasting. So it was just between the three of us. But there was something Bob did that grated on my nerves in a way that I was like, nope, gotta go. I was like, Bob's gotta go. And the two of you were so perplexed. You were like, really? And I was like, yep, gotta go.
It's Sean Astin.
I thought for sure. Like heels in the ground, thought for sure he was going to be revealed to be a villain.
He didn't. He saved them all.
I know.
He's the hero.
I couldn't remember. It was the scene. Was he talking to like Jonathan or Will or one of them? Or was he
was talking to Will in the car where he was telling him that I used to have this like imaginary monster or whatever, and I would just tell him to go away, just like shut up and go away.
Yeah, there was something else though involving a record, I want to say, where I just he hit me the wrong way and I was just like, nope, not on my watch. And so I accept that he was great and everything, and I mean I clung to my bit, you know.
Yeah. But
having him show up again in this season, I'm like, fucking Bob.
Well, Joyce is having a hard time.
She is. Yeah, what is her deal? Her magnets won't work. Like, we talked about it last week, but it was like,
well, we talked about it. It's like, it's all of Hawkins.
Yeah, I just sort of, my eyes do go a little bit glassy with Joyce and Hopper. Stuff. I don't know.
It's like, that's what she found out from the science teacher.
Mm-hmm.
There's like something like the thing, whatever's in the old steelworks where the mind flayer is, that is what they call it, yeah. Messing with the magnetic fields.
Yeah. And so they, oh god, well, this is in the next episode. I just kind of remembered that they went to the mayor, what was his name?
Klein,
Mayor Klein's office, and Hopper kicked the shit out of him.
In his awesome Hawaiian shirt.
I love it so much.
I love it so much, too.
I tweeted last night where I was like, season 3 of Stranger Things is just gay, right? Like, everything that has happened so far is so queer. Like, everything. I mean, we even got, like, a almost nude scene from David Harbour. Like...
Almost, yeah.
So we mentioned that Billy and Heather are, like, body snatched, and then they took her parents in this like terrifying scene, and Max and Eleven have figured out something was going on. And also her dad is the guy at the newspaper.
Yes. Heather's dad. Yeah.
Yeah. So Nancy and Jonathan are working at the newspaper, and Nancy is being Mad Men'd the fuck over. Like,
yeah,
it's ridiculous. And
she is Peggy circa season 1.
Yeah. I really sort of like, I was on her team. And then they ran into that stuff with Mrs. Driscoll, and he, like, fired them. And I was like, oh, she really did fuck that up. And then she had that incredible scene with her mother.
Uh-huh.
Where her mother was so completely on her side. And we talk about this a lot, where it's like, in the last 50 years, the progress that women have made was so vast, like, so much, and sort of very breakneck within. So it's like in between generations, like leaps and bounds were made. And so sometimes you have women that were arrested in their time and don't understand the plight. And then you have someone like Nancy or Karen Wheeler, who it is like, I don't know how to put it into words, but she is so completely, she is a modern woman.
Well, she is, but she's like, she's somehow like a modern woman in the trappings of like a 60s housewife that also is like ahead of her time at the same time.
Yeah.
Karen Wheeler's got layers.
Oh, yeah.
And I will go to the mat for that.
I was prepared for them to just make her awful and campy. Like, that's just after that scene last season with Billy, I was like, okay, we're just going to make her a desperate housewife.
Yeah, I mean, even the scenes in episode 1 and 2 of this season with Billy, I was like, oh, we're doubling down on that. But it was way different. She's turning out different.
When she was talking to him when he was already like kind of possessed, and there was like this weird fragility where I was like, oh, she's in over her head even beyond this stuff. I don't know. It's getting close to like a season 1 of Teen Wolf, Melissa McCall crying in the car place where it's like shit. And it Nancy and Jonathan are the most me characters. Like Nancy, Jonathan, and Steve are like the characters that I would be the most into. And in a weird sort of twist, they were the most at risk of boring me until now. I feel like now their stuff is kicking into high gear a little bit.
Well, I love what they're doing with Steve right now because I like Robin as a foil for him. And I really like Dustin.
I've warmed up to her. I didn't like her at first.
I do. I'm fine with her, but I like the
She's
trio.
Also, we found out, legacy.
Yes, she is Uma Thurman and Ethan Hawke's daughter, Maya. We did not know that. I didn't know it going in. I had forgotten. But I really like the trio of her and Steve and Dustin. I think it's like a lot of fun, and I love the set of the ice cream parlor. And like the little window that they're always like hanging out in the back and stuff. I don't know. I'm digging almost everything about this season. I'm really having a lot of fun. And Mrs. Driscoll is fucking terrifying. Is she gonna explode into goo?
I don't know. It was hellish. It was so hellish.
That's what the Mind Flayer is all of those goo rats.
You said earlier that you wanted to talk about the rats. Did you?
Oh, it's just the most disgusting thing I've ever seen.
Oh, that's you. You said it like you were onto something. I was like,
no, it's just disgusting. It's it's horrible. It was like drawing them so that it could explode them, and that's what it's made out of. That's how it got to be corporeal. I think it's hella gross.
Like I said, I was watching this with my brother's girlfriend, Corey, and she called Nancy the fuck out, and it was really funny. But it was when Nancy and Jonathan were like driving home after getting fired. And he started to like fuss at her about like getting him fired. And she said something like, oh boy, the Oliver twist. She says, here comes the Oliver twist. And Corey laughed out loud. And I looked at her and said, what? And she said, oh, are you poor? Oh, boo-hoo. And Corey was like, I mean, rightfully so, bitch. You just got his ass fired. And I was like,
I guess. He was being... That's
it was just the way Corey's like, oh, are you poor? Boo-hoo.
Yeah. That was the thing for me about these two episodes, is it was like the girls were right. The girls and the women were 100% right in literally every instance. Without question. They were right. And every single boy and man was gaslighting the fuck out of them, including Jonathan. And you know what? He does wear the poverty like a chip on his shoulder. So
the Oliver Twist routine.
I am on Nancy's side. Jonathan could get another job.
Okay, Celine. So basically we have to like, I think 2 more points and then we're good. But so in my favorite thing that has ever been done in any art form ever is that the mall is evil?
Well, yeah, I mean, oh, you mean because of the Russians?
I mean, I'm asking. Like, I was like, so wait, is the mall like evil? Like,
well, I think leaning into what you were saying before, the mall is a metaphor.
Okay.
it's like cannibalizing the town.
Okay.
Basically. But also, I think these companies, or like the Russian situation, is like using the mall as a front in order to like do whatever they're doing with the whatever uranium or whatever shit was in the thing with Steve.
And it's so funny because it's like we're in a very like shop online place right now. And my mom... We cannot drive past the dying mall and without my mom lamenting how much she misses that. And she doesn't think that it's practical just having everything shipped to your house. And she wished that she could go to a store and try it on and stuff. And I've always said to her, I was like, I agree. I was like, I honestly see both sides.
Yeah.
Like, I actively use both sides because I was just shopping for headphones, like actual good headphones. And I was like, I need to go somewhere and pick something up. Like, I was like, I need to be able to hear it. Like, And I just told her that I was like, life finds a way, necessity is the mother of invention. We'll if something's not working, we'll find a solution. And so
Sure.
it is so funny to come at this from my mom's perspective, where I'm watching this and thinking, oh, the mall, do you remember? And then in the show, they're talking about how the mall has like ruined their town and it's run the mom and pop stores out of business and stuff. And I'm like, life is like an hourglass glued to the table. Like it is a never ending cycle. Like, I just find that very amusing. And when Robin was like in the food court figuring out the coded language, I was like, this is really lame, Stranger Things. I was like, so the Russian code is about the mall food court? And I just couldn't even...
Well, it's about the whole mall.
No, I understand that now in a way that I think is amazing, but I was just sort of like, because I can't think of the company, because I was always aware of that. The companies owned malls, because the company that owned our mall in Maryland was like a really good company that had good malls and stuff. And I can't think of the name of it, but my parents would say that growing up, or they'd say, oh, it's a blah, 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 blah mall.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't even the Lynx was like the delivery company. Not like the company that owned the mall.
I thought they said something about like the company that owned the mall was like, so they were doing this in other towns. That's what I thought.
Oh, maybe,
well.
maybe. I might have missed that then.
Well, we'll find out, because now Dustin and Steve and Robin and Erica are in a bunker miles under the
under the town.
Yeah. So, and then I think really the only other thing is that the fight, the kids v. Billy in the sauna, is that what do you think? I mean, we know that I love Billy because I love a hot dirtbag who might murder me. We'll have to, but maybe I can fix him. What are your feelings on Billy? Is this just me on my bullshit, or are you having feelings?
No, I think he's fascinating, but also this isn't Billy.
So is Billy already dead? Like, are we...
I don't know that. I don't know if he's like possessed or if it's like a full-on pod person thing, or like, can you get it out of them? Like, I don't know. Like if we kill the mind flayer, does Billy go back to normal? I mean, is this going to change him at all, or will he be just as big of a douche if he's able to come out the other side?
It's really, I'm having a great deal of sympathy for him, and especially for him through Max's eyes, because I don't know. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's super good.
And disturbing. It was
and
really...
I think Dacre Montgomery is doing a really good job. Yeah.
And he's so sweet, which makes...
In real life?
Yeah, which makes it kind of even more crazy. And I honestly even kind of like, I think I said this last time, but I like Steve's arc, that he used to be the hotshot, and now he's kind of like just like treading water. Like, I feel like maybe we did gloss over Hopper and Joyce's stuff, but I think we'll get to a point.
I feel many ways about that, and I'm sure that storyline is going to come to a head at some point. I feel many ways about it, and I think that's all I'll say for now, because like I said, I'm sure it'll come up again, and we'll delve deeper into that at some point. But I have I just have a lot of feelings.
So, okay, I feel good. Is there anything else you want to say?
No, I think we'll check back in after episode 6.
Cool. Okay, bye.
All right, bye.
So I guess when we left off, it was episode 5 was the Flayed. So basically when we left off, it was Steve and Rebecca, or Robin rather, and Dustin and Erica were in that elevator down to the bunker.
Right.
And so what is going on there? What are the Russians are here illegally? Like, how have they infiltrated this town in Indiana? Like,
I have no idea.
Okay.
No, I literally have no idea. It is fascinating to me. I went to the point where I was like, did they go all the way through the earth to Russia? Like, are they on the other side? But it's clearly not. So, I don't know. But I am loving it because it's like, it's adding even another genre, which is like an 80s spy movie, which this show has not done before. And it's so much fun watching, especially these kids kind of take down the Russian government from the inside. They're like doing a pretty good job.
I feel like this season has also been a little bit more on the nose.
Yeah.
Or are we just used to it? What do you think?
I guess it could be both.
Well, I'm enjoying it. It's going to sound critical, and I guess maybe it's a little bit critical. I'm so far probably enjoying this the most, and certainly I'm liking this more than season 2. And I liked season 2. I didn't think it was bad, but there were more moments of like, nobody could defeat our system, and then we cut immediately to the kids and stuff. And I mean, I really don't know where we're going, but
me neither. And now we only have 2 episodes left to watch.
We watched 5 and 6, which was the flayed and e pluribus unum. And I wrote this note down to the 6th one, but I was like, I don't know where we're going with this story, but all of this like sex metaphor / imagery is getting really clunky.
Like what specifically?
Well, the Russians have this key, and they need to put it in the... They're trying to penetrate the doorway, and we got to keep the kids safe from it.
Okay.
And it's very kind of like... I started
didn't
laughing.
pick any of that up, so I don't know if
the doorway that is a crevice that looks like, I don't know, the Eye of Sauron or something. And so they have this big key that they're trying to put into it, and it just like...
I don't think that's on purpose.
Okay.
I mean, I believe you, but I don't think it's on purpose.
He said penetrate. I just started laughing, and Corey was like, "What are you laughing at?" And I was like, "I know where we're going." Like, I was like, I think I get what's happening here." And that's why I'm like, well, what are we building to? Because I don't love the optics of that.
I see that's what
the upside down.
I don't think they're doing that.
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but that was all kind of happening to me. So anyways, so Hopper and Joyce found Russians under a house. Underneath
one of the farms.
Okay.
Everybody's stuff is connected, but they're not all coming to the information at the same time. Where like the Hess farm, where they found the Russians underneath, is one of the places that Nancy was calling because their fertilizer went missing.
Oh, okay. It was like that last season too.
It's like they're all on like a plot merry-go-round, and they're all stepping to the same places, but they're all finding out different bits of information when they get there. That's what
Well, there was a fight in this underground bunker thingy in which Joyce threw a gun overhand. She's no Nancy, we'll say that.
She's doing the best she can.
You don't throw a gun, and you certainly don't throw it overhand, but yeah, so, and then the Terminator came in.
Her lesson.
Yeah, well, we'll see. But the Terminator came in, and they fought, and then they kidnapped, what was his name?
Alexei.
I keep wanting to call him Smirnoff. What?
Alexei.
And then they took him to the crazy reporter.
Brett Gelman,
Yeah, Brett Gelman. Murray Bauman?
I don't know.
I didn't write it down.
I don't know his whole name. I know he's Brett Gelman.
Yeah, he was fun in season 2. I kind of remember season 2, and I think we're at the point where I'm supposed to be remembering more of it, and I was like, crap.
Well, I just rewatched it like 2 weeks ago.
Oh, okay. What were they doing there? They were like kind of like weirdly interrogating him?
Well, yeah, Hopper knows Murray, and he knows that he can speak Russian, so he like brought Alexei there so that they could have him translate what's going on with the like power plant that's underneath the farm.
That had me laughing too, because I was like, Joyce just wants her magnets to stick.
I know.
Like that's really
that really is like Joyce's only motivation right now. It's hilarious.
And so I jumped around. I was doing a poor job of leading this conversation. But so back to the other underground bunker, like the underground bunker with all the kids. They were, running amok in this
Russian facility
dome. Yeah. And 2 of them, so Dustin and Erica kind of like slipped away, and Steve and Robin got caught.
Yeah.
I've warmed up to Robin. I don't know if it's just because I know who she is now, because at first I was kind of like not really interested in her, but I thought that scene with the 2 of them laying on the ground was actually really, really good.
So good. I really like their chemistry together. They have like a really fun dynamic between the 2 of them. I was worried because every season so far has had people separated at like to a point, but we're almost done now and everybody's still separated, and so I've been like, this is not like as much fun, but I do like the way they've separated people.
Well, we do have Nancy and Jonathan back with the kids,
Yeah.
and all the kids are together except for Dustin. But no, I just I thought that scene was so good, and I thought it was needed if we're going to make Robin a character, and if she's going to be in the next season, which is presumably the last. We don't know, but
it did get put on IMDb though, so I think it got officially picked up.
I would imagine, yeah. But she was just really good, and it wasn't like a super showcasey scene in the way she wasn't laughing or crying or screaming or all that. It was just a subtlety. It was just a very sort of real. And I'm always impressed when an actor can fill the screen with just their face.
Yeah.
When they can add enough little tics and facial features, to really, it was good. I was really impressed, and I like Steve's character. I feel like, are you getting from Steve what you wanted from Jaime Lannister?
As a redemption arc, you mean?
Yeah,
I mean,
a proper.
Steve gave me that in season 1.
Yeah, but it stayed. They're not just just kidding.
Yeah. It definitely stayed. He isn't hanging out with his trash friends again and writing Nancy's a slut on the movie theater marquee anymore.
Forgot about that. Also, Steve said nuclear.
I know he did. I was actually hoping that Erica would correct him, and she didn't. And I was like, I guess they're just gonna let that go. Probably that's how Joe Keery says it.
No, I think it was on purpose.
You think so?
Yeah. And I just have this note that I just said, oh God, sodas are not thirst quenchers. The way that they were
Oh, I know.
I was like, that's not how drinking works.
Well, that was well before bottled water was a thing.
Sure, I guess.
Yeah.
That actually, it's crazy, man. Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's 30 years ago. 33 years ago. This taking place the year we were born.
I remember what happened, but I'm having a hard time actually point by point going through. But when Steve just straight up screamed at the Russian dude and then charged him.
Yeah.
And it was first of all, don't announce your attack. And then Corey just goes, wow, Steve, show us your mean face. And I also have a note that says, do you want to talk about how hot Tom is? But then there is no more Tom.
Which one was Tom?
Oh, Heather's father.
Oh, I mean, he's a silver fox, but yeah, I mean, he is. Yeah. He
was giving me Sheriff Keller.
Oh, yeah. But he is a blob now.
Yeah.
They're all blobs now.
Him and Jake Busey. How did you feel about that whole thing?
Bad. I felt really bad about it.
It was awful. I was like, this show is really violent. I kind of kept forgetting. And it's I don't really have an issue with it, but I am sort of in this camp where I'm like, God forbid we see a nipple, but...
Well, this season is scarier and grosser than the first 2 seasons combined. And
I mean, the first season was scary, but this
not this kind of scary. This is
people didn't get stabbed in the neck with scissors.
Yeah. I'm uncomfortable watching this more than I'm comfortable watching it this season.
I don't know how this is TV-14. I don't know how they say that with it.
I agree with you.
I agree that the show is this is certainly something, if I had younger kids that I thought could handle it and they wanted to watch something mature, the way that I remember my parents let us watch Terminator when we were 10.
Right.
And it's I would let kids watch this, but it is extremely violent and gross in a way that I'm I'm always surprised when I am shocked by something.
Yeah, plus it was there's a lot of really terrifying imagery, specifically when in the hospital when the thing was on top of Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, really, really bad and gross.
I do have a note.
Odd and gross.
I have a note that just says, "How is Nancy's hair getting worse?"
Right? Oh my God, I said the exact same thing to Will. I was like, Nancy's hair is fucking terrible, and he was like, "Well, it's been falling out for 2 days," and then in the next scene, it was just as bad, and she had clearly showered and changed clothes. And I was like,
I will say she did look like Jennifer Beals, though. It was, I feel like it's accurate. But when she put that clip in her hair, I feel like it's visceral. I feel like any millennial, anyone our age remembers that weird banana clip in their mom's.
Yep. It just makes you go, oh God.
But so we have the Mind Flayer, which is, I guess, the villain from season 2, correct?
Well, it's the Thessal Hydra. It's the thing that was that Will kept seeing when he flicked back into the upside down.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it is flaying people from their minds. I don't know.
Well, and their bodies
from,
now.
Yeah.
All these people are hella dead.
Yeah, I was wondering to what extent, and I was very aware that Billy hasn't done it yet. Heather did, which surprised me a little bit. I figured we were keeping her for a minute. I'm not crying or I'm not upset about it. I just was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm curious too, because I wonder, are they going to save Billy, or is this going to happen to Billy also?
What did you think about that? Basically, 11 went into his brain.
Yeah. I really liked the way that they did it.
Oh, yeah.
It was very cool. Very cool and interesting. I loved that she got dropped, like, on the outskirts of his, like, mind space or whatever you want to call it. And it was just, like...
I straight wrote she got Inceptioned.
Yeah, like him learning how to surf on the beach. It was a lot like Inception. And then there was, like, a storm in the distance. And I loved that, like, going towards the storm was, like, all the worst and worse memories until the center of the storm was the steelworks where, like... he got taken by the mind flayer. I don't know. It was everything that they do with 11 and her powers is like so interesting and like really cool. And I love the way they visually represent it. And I can't say enough good things about Millie Bobby Brown. I think she's absolutely the biggest gun that this show has at its disposal.
Well, as well as the character. And so far, I'm pretty impressed with their usage of her. We're not overusing her, and she feels... like, because you know how Martin likes to talk about power scaling a lot. Yeah. It's like she does feel like she has gotten stronger, but not in a way that's sacrificing continuity or like...
Will actually said something where he was like, I wish that she could like just like use her powers without making it look like it's the hardest thing she's ever done. Like she like opened the door or something and he was like, it's just like, and I was like, well, her nose isn't bleeding this time. I was like, I feel like she's getting stronger. It just like depends what she's doing.
Well, and because the kids even have the conversation where I was like on Mike's side because he was like, she's not a machine. Like she's not a tool that we can turn on and off. I
think I'm on both their sides, and it's clear because of Mike's adorable confession that he loves her. That he just like wants her to be safe. But I agree with you. I am also on, I agree with you for him, but then I'm also on Nancy and Max's side where it's like, she's a human person. If she didn't think she could do it, I think she wouldn't do it. I think she'd say, I can't, I'm too tired.
I don't know. Considering this situation that they're in. And I mean, she also is not socialized the way the rest of them are. Yeah, I was glad. I was glad to have them all together. I think the Inception stuff with Billy was interesting. I do keep coming back to this word clunky, and I don't know if it's more personal fatigue on my part, but I kind of felt like we had already gotten that information. So
that his dad was a dick?
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I guess it was necessary. I guess there's no reality where we couldn't have had that, and as you already mentioned, it was so visually stunning.
Yeah, and I mean, I think we knew his dad was a dick, but I think we didn't know that his mom was nice.
And also that she just quit.
That she left, yeah.
Yeah, that's something that we've talked about a little bit, you know, the prospect of, like, a bad mom. Not necessarily, like, a bad person, but motherhood just isn't...
I don't think she was a bad mom. I think she left the husband, because he was
and she left him there. Yeah,
well,
she left Billy there. Because he was on the phone begging her to come back.
I don't know how much choice you can have as the wife in the 80s. You know what I mean?
I guess, but I thought typically the women got the children. But
not if she doesn't have a job. And I think you still couldn't get your own credit card in 1985 or 1979 when she left.
Yeah, I don't know. It's the kind of thing that, you know, I would love a redemption for Billy. I just don't know if we're going there, and certainly, you know, not without a self-sacrificial moment. Like,
I was gonna say, yeah, there's gotta be something's gotta give with Billy. It can't be too neat. And I think it helps to humanize him, but it's also, I mean, that wasn't necessarily the point of her going in there. The point was to find out where it happened, and that was at the Steelworks. But I don't know. I mostly just liked I liked it.
I do have, and I wrote my note down here, but I said, is Hopper being more of a dick than usual?
Yeah, like a lot. Like way more of a dick. I'm getting really tired of him. It's annoying me.
I remembered him being prickly, but I've had this feeling that we're
different.
Yeah. I've had this feeling that we were going to lose somebody and this whole season, and now I am starting to, like, I don't know.
Well, if it's going to be Hopper, they're making it real easy for me.
Yeah, I don't know.
Here is my problem. I wouldn't mind if he was being this prickly because he's been having like a day or like a week or whatever, but it's like, it seems like his only motivation is because Joyce stood him up. And I'm like, that's not enough motivation for me for him to be such a dick to her and then everybody else also.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I absolutely know what you mean. I just, it's been fun. Like, it's been interesting to watch, but I am a little bit kind of like, huh.
Yeah. We're like, he was so great. I loved Hopper so much. And I don't think David Harbour is doing anything wrong, but I just loved Hopper so much the first 2 seasons because he cared so much about Eleven and the rest of the kids and Joyce. And now it's like this one thing didn't go his way and he's like losing his mind.
There beforehand because he was really unhinged with Eleven and Mike. So
yeah, I guess I don't know. But all of that being said, he hasn't tried to check in on her once. And when Joyce was like, "We need to call our kids," he was like, "What for?"
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, "Don't you think all of this is interesting about opening the gate and shit?" And I don't know. It's very he's not operating the way that I think he should be. Maybe he got taken. Maybe he's a sleeper cell.
I don't know. I think we're building to something, but I just, as of right now, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, me neither.
I really only have like 2 more things to say. I was going to say the aesthetics of Mayor Klein's political posters looked familiar. I couldn't quite put my finger on it, but I was like, cool. And he is in cahoots with whoever. So I keep calling him the Terminator, but when did that guy show up? Because I only really made note of him in episode 5. Was he the one that attacked Hopper earlier on?
Yeah, he's been in for a little bit. I think at least since episode 4.
Okay.
But he's been there for a minute.
So he's like
he's like a Russian enforcer.
Big gun? Yeah, okay.
So Klein is in with the Russians.
So that's at least how they've gotten into this town. We don't know about the country, but...
Yeah.
I don't know. The Russian government involved in American politics, I don't know that I believe it.
You don't say.
So, is there anything else? I feel like we're doing really bad right now.
We're not doing amazing, but we're not doing terrible.
I don't know. You guys tell us.
No, I mean, I think that's mostly it. I think that's the thing is, like, I like doing the episodic coverage, and this every 2 episodes is fine, but it's also, like, I can't speak on it as much as I want to without having seen all of it. Because it's like, I don't know where it's going. I don't know what the point of some of this stuff is. And, like, I can talk about how great the performances are till I'm blue in the face, but there's only so much about
This is one that maybe we could have just talked about at the end.
At the end, yeah.
You know, even though we're a year and a half into this, there is even still a learning curve.
Yeah.
And frankly, I mean, when I know that I'm supposed to be talking, like when I'm actually, like, I watch things differently for my own enjoyment versus when I know that I have to, like, report back on it. And there's a part of me that's like, I just want to watch Stranger Things, you know what I mean?
No, totally. I agree with that too. That's definitely where I'm at as well.
So, because the first 2, they were very personal in ways that I think make sense. It's got a very Toy Story thing where it's like, these are being made for us specifically.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
I guess the only thing I'll say is that we've got, so Joyce and Hopper and Murray and Alexei are getting ready to drive back to Hawkins because they're in Illinois right now. And
did I keep saying Indiana?
Hawkins is in Indiana. But
it is, okay.
Yeah, they went to Illinois.
Okay.
So they're on their way back so that Alexei and Hopper can try to turn the key off so that they can not open the gate because we know what's in the gate.
Oh, they're coming after Elle. The Mind Flayer.
The Mind Flayer is coming after Elle, yes.
Like, specifically, like coming after her personally. That was kind of like,
when she was in Billy's mind, Billy was like, you let us in, and we're coming for you specifically.
Yeah, I knew there was something else that we needed to say, but it was crazy.
Dustin and Robin and Erica and Steve have managed to get out of being captured, but they're still in the facility as of now.
Mm-hmm.
And they know that they're opening the gate also. Mm-hmm. So the only people who don't know they're opening the gate are Nancy and Jonathan and the rest of the kids. But Elle knows that something's coming after her. And I think that's where we ended it.
Okay, cool. Well, we'll watch the next 2, and then we'll check back and hopefully have something to say other than, I don't know, it was good.
It was good, I liked it.
Maybe we should just do that. Maybe we should be like, that was great. Bye.
And then have like 2 minutes of silence and then keep talking.
Of us like wandering off and talking like in the distance.
Oh my God.
So, okay, well, we'll check back later.
All right, bye.
if our last episode was a little bit weird, we were working a lot yesterday in the yard. There's like extensive yard work that we're having to do at my parents' house. And my brother, when we were done, we got in the pool and he had a cigarette. And I don't often smoke cigarettes. But this time I was like, I'm going to give the cigarette a try. And so I did, and I didn't like it. It made me feel weird. But then I was like, well, we have to go record. And I was like, I think I'm good. I was like, I got this. And so we sat down, and then I was just like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Because the cigarette really messed with me. So that was
from
my...
now on, no cigarettes when we have to work.
No, I don't. Yeah, I don't smoke cigarettes when we're going to sit down and record and talk about Stranger Things. So, okay, basically, I had just said to you, and I'll say it again for the audience and all that, is that sometimes I get kind of preoccupied on trying to recap stuff, and that's not exactly what we do. You know, we do it sometimes, and it's fine when it works, but I think this is going to be a bit more of a reaction. So we watched the 7th and 8th episode of Stranger Things, and I'll go ahead and say I actually really liked it, and then I'll say to you, what did you think? What did you want to...
I loved it. It's hard for me to say that I like it better than season 1 because season 1 was so pure and like perfect.
Absolutely.
But it is so close to being better than season 1. I liked it so much. Everything about it, the stakes of everything were really great. The like emotional punches were really good. You know, it was scary. It was a little gory. It was
a really lot gory.
Yeah, it was a lot gory. It was really suspenseful. It was still funny. I just really, everything about it. I had a blast. Will, my husband, is already rewatching this season because he's off work this week.
Oh, is he really? He's already rewatching. Yeah, he liked it that much.
Already rewatching it. He started this morning.
Well, this was just such a good example of more is better. Yeah. Which that's not always the case, but when it is, boy, is it. And it's like bigger budget, more characters, more stakes, like just more. It was just more of everything in a really fun way. And it was just so neon and it was very stylish. And the show has never been lacking in style, but there was sort of like a very kind of grounded grittiness, especially in the first season. And, you know, I don't know if like 1983 was that way and then 1984 was more like, and then 1985 was like Technicolor. But it does sort of feel like in the beginning of the 80s, and especially media from that time, it was like snuffier, you know?
Sure. No, totally cool. I mean, like coming out of the 70s, absolutely. And then getting closer to the 90s when everything was neon. Yeah, this is like that sweet spot in between where it's not neon yet, but it's like way more colorful and like loud patterns and bold stuff.
And just that excitement and the nostalgia and the pandering and all that, and how they managed to do that and more, like, and then some. And I mean, I've said it, I think, every time we've talked, and I'm going to say it again, but I'm so impressed with the fact that they were able to add more characters, and that somehow made it feel stronger, in my opinion.
100%. I mean, Robin and Erica and Alexei were all, and Murray, to be honest, because he's only in like 2 episodes in season 2. They all got added and they all got fleshed out and they all felt real and they all felt like they belonged in this world and they all earned their keep.
And that's on top of, you know, Max and Billy from season 2. And
totally.
Which I don't know at what point I realized that Erica was Lucas's sister, but it was way later than everybody else. I thought she was just like a sassy little girl at the ice cream parlor.
No, she's like, in season 2 and season 1.
No, I remembered. When I remembered, but I was like, holy shit. And it's like, I was so prepared to hate Robin. I think I even made like a scoffy remark in our first little chunk of episode we did.
Yeah, I think you did, yeah.
And it was so unexpected. And it honestly kind of blindsided me and broke my heart a little bit when she came out to Steve.
Oh my God. It was friggin' amazing.
I did not expect it.
So I knew it because I stayed off the internet as well as I could, but I still saw a thing where it was like an incorrect quote. And he said the thing where he was like, Tammy's a girl. And she just goes, people are gay, Steve. And I was like, that's pretty good. So I knew that. And I was pretty sure I knew one other thing that happened that we can get to in a minute because there's more to talk to first.
I just like and I think I mentioned this in our previous chunk, but I was so impressed with her monologue with the Russians. And then I'm actually so amazed at what a great character Steve is and the arc that he's on and how it's like, because we're in this place now where we just want Steve to catch a break.
Oh my God, totally.
And
Steve has not caught a break since Nancy got back together with him at Christmas 2 years ago.
Yeah, I was worried. I was really worried because I had a feeling we were going to lose somebody. And then I saw one or two tweets that were vaguely enough worded.
Yep.
That I was like, well, I'm pretty sure we're losing someone, but I don't know who it is.
Yep.
And I ran the gamut. And the last episode I watched with my mom, and she gets too emotionally attached to things. And so I told her, I was like, I don't know who. I was like, but I have a feeling somebody's going to die. And so it was so funny watching the episode with her because any single time that a character even had like an element of material,
Yeah.
Mom was like, it's gonna be them. We're losing Will. We're losing Joyce. And she was like, no, not Nancy. Like, and I just was kind of like, Mom, you're stressing me out. And frankly, there was a close call with Nancy.
Yeah, there was a really close call with Nancy. She got Ellen Ripley'd pretty good for a minute there.
And the Steve thing, I was like, oh God, I hope it's not Steve. I was like, I hope we don't lose him in like and not to imply that he was broken.
Yeah, but like we can't afford to be losing the tolerant douchebags in the 80s thing, you know?
I mean, because they're going to raise the first generation of truly good men, you know?
Right, right.
But his arc when he understood that she was a lesbian and the fact that it like almost made, well, it made them closer.
Yeah.
And I just love that she's now his like best gal. Like,
Totally.
She's his wing woman, you know?
Well, and it just was so great because he didn't even have that like one moment of like anger at her for not liking him.
He felt like an idiot.
He just was like, oh, well, fuck me, I guess. And he was like, okay, whatever. Tammy sings like a Muppet. And like, that was it.
So, yeah, because we mentioned that I felt like we needed some gay content earlier, and I really thought we were going to get it from Will, and now I guess probably not. And that's fine.
Well, we might in a season 4.
Yeah, we'll see.
They moved away. Oh shit! Well, they moved away. So we might if it picks up and they're like in a different school.
Well, we're almost entirely like we're almost certain that it is getting season 4.
Well, it was on IMDb yesterday, and it's not now, so I have no idea.
Well, I can't. I mean, if they planned for 4 seasons, and with as well as this, it's huge as this is, and as well as it's been received, we're getting a season 4.
I mean, I don't like counting my chickens anymore.
Yeah, but it's like, I mean.
Yeah,
okay.
I know.
It's getting a season 4.
Okay.
So for me, the question is whether or not that will be the end, or they're going to keep going.
Try to keep going.
You know, I think it could go 5. I wouldn't recommend it going further than that because I think they should be adults by the end, Harry Potter style adults, not like.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I could go. I think it could probably go as far as 6, but that would be my like hard limit.
My only thing with not wanting to go much further than this is so far I'm not getting much from the Upside Down. Like it kind of feels like more of the same each time.
Yeah, I can see that.
Unless we find like another dimension or something. I don't know, what if there's like a good dimension that comes in and fights? But
that could be interesting.
I don't fully understand why they moved.
Well, Joyce was trying to the whole season. She that was like her plan already because she had the house on the market. And then I think when drum roll after everything happened and
well, I mean, people watching this know, so we can just go ahead and say it.
After everything happened and her family was safe, but Hopper died, who was like arguably her last tie to the town. I think there was no reason for her to stay anymore, so she followed through. I think if she had been able to go on that date with Hopper, I think she would have stayed, but she was like, doesn't want to stay there anymore. And then and 11 can't stay there by herself. So
yeah, here's my thing. There's no scenario where Hopper's dead.
No, 100% no.
So it's just kind of
He's
like,
definitely
okay.
not dead.
Yes, and Jon Snow is too.
Yeah, apparently David Harbour has like all but confirmed that he's in season 4. So
he's in that Russian like gulag. So
well, okay, so that's what I thought, but our friend and editor Tim he was talking with Will the other day, and he thinks that it's Brenner in the Russian gulag.
Which one's Brenner?
Matthew Modine, Papa.
Okay.
So he thinks that that's who's in the prison cell when the guy said not the American, the other one.
Okay.
He thinks that's Brenner. Will and I kind of think that David Hopper is trapped in the Upside Down.
Like probably, possibly.
He got put in the Upside Down. He didn't just disintegrate. Because we didn't see it happen.
Yeah, no. So, yeah, he's fine.
He's totally fine.
As fine as one can be in the Upside Down.
Sure, of course.
Because part of me was also worried that it might be Will, and I was sort of like, oh.
Yeah, but they really, really wasted him this season. All he did was say he's here and grab the back of his neck. He didn't do anything and then be sad that they weren't playing Dungeons and Dragons. That's like, he got such good stuff last season and then like kind of nothing this year.
Yeah.
It was kind of a bummer.
I was, and I know this isn't going to surprise you, but I was sad to lose Billy.
I know, me too.
Were you really? Is it just me or?
No, I mean, it got me there at the end. And I think despite the fact that he was a dick and he was mean to his sister and all of the kids and Nancy and Steve, he was like just a dick to everybody and his dad and his stepmom. I mean, he
did almost beat Steve to death with his bare hands.
He did. But I think he's a really interesting character. I think there could have been more to explore with him. That being said, I think he went out the exact right way.
And I think one of us said that earlier on. I think I said something about how he's going to self-sacrifice.
Yeah.
And because that's the only...
Yeah, it's the only way to redeem a character that terrible. And then also the fact that it was Elle who like connected with him in that moment that was like, I saw your mom, and was just like explaining what it was like and everything, and that's what the connection was. And like you can almost see that it's like that moment is like the first moment that he started losing his tether on like being a good person somehow. And it just everything about that's what I said at the beginning is, for me this season the emotional punches hit better than any previous season. Like it was really grabbing me by the heartstrings like a lot, and that was like the first moment that happened.
I know you and I have talked a bit already on this coverage about Karen, but I'm trying to remember. I think I was having the conversation with my mom.
Well, we talked about her scene with Nancy.
Yeah, okay.
After she got fired.
I still find her to be such a baffling, in a delightful way, character and presence on the show.
Yeah.
And I did look online. I looked on YouTube and looked at a couple of, fast forwarded through a couple of reviews and hot takes. And it is astonishing how many. And we do this a lot, and I really try not to, but we like rag on dudes and stuff. And I try not to, because it's like, I don't want it to just be white noise or whatever. But there, like, I saw more than one dude complain about like what a useless character she was and how pointless she is.
Disagree.
I'm just sorry. Yeah, I'm there too. I'm just so there. And I did sort of expect a little bit more from her in the finale, other than to just comfort Mike.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, she had the moment she needed with Nancy. Like that was the moment that mattered.
Well,
more.
and even just, it's like she is a desperate housewife, and it's like that stuff with Billy where it's like she went all the way up to the line, but then ultimately didn't cross it, and there was just that like just wanting, because her husband is so worthless, but also we have no reason to believe he's a bad guy.
No, he's not a bad guy, and that's, I think, that is the content she got post that scene with Nancy that I think was the most interesting and the most perfect, because you're right. She is a desperate housewife, and she did go right up to that line with Billy. And then there's the scene when they're at the carnival, and she is just super chill and delightful, hanging out with her husband at this carnival, making him go on rides, and she's having a great time. It's like all she needed to get past that moment of desperation was to get all the way up to the line and not cross it, to realize how happy she actually was.
Just to realize that she had the option. Yeah.
Sure, just to realize she had the option, and to be like, no, I'm actually content with the way my life is. Like, I don't want to blow up everything for this 17-year-old boy.
It's very the baker's wife. And yes. I just think, like, sometimes I'm annoyed when shows insist that characters are characters, and I can't really figure out why. And other times I'm sort of like, hey, then don't watch it. You know what I mean? And it's like,
exactly.
I do like that this show is very much like, this is what we're doing and here's how we're doing it. And it just sort of, it was really nice. I'm going to keep kind of repeating it, but it's like, I just am so impressed that like, by adding more, we got more out of what we already had for the most part. You know, you already mentioned Will got a little bit sidelined, and because frankly, I even think Joyce got a little bit sidelined, but that's...
She just wants to know what happened to the magnets, man.
Yeah. And also, she's the one at the end of the day who saved the day. So
totally. She totally did.
Because I was also watching this with my brother's girlfriend, and she's 10 years younger than me. So it's like, in a lot of ways, we're very connected. In a lot of ways, she's almost like a different species. So we were talking about Winona Ryder, and she was aware of Winona Ryder being, you know, an actress that people knew, but she didn't know who she was.
Oh,
and
well,
so I was like,
Corey wasn't old enough when she shoplifted, so she's only known her that.
I had to explain that to Corey, and Corey got so mad. She was so mad. I was like, oh, we treated her terribly.
Like, she was mad on behalf of Winona Ryder? Yeah, okay.
Because Corey literally goes, oh, she just had, like, a breakdown. And I was like, yeah, kind of. Like, Corey got it immediately.
Yeah.
And I was like, but it was like in the press for like 5 years. She was like kind of...
Well, she got blackballed pretty much.
Yeah. And it was a cry for help. I'm kind of like, I don't know. If anything, I thought it was kind of chic.
Well, she apparently, what was it? She was like shoplifting Marc Jacobs while wearing Marc Jacobs?
It was like scarves or something. And she said she was preparing for a role. And I was like, she grew up in the spotlight. I mean, and of course, we're living in a post-2007 Britney world. So that's like small potatoes. But I really like Winona Ryder. I'm here for Winona Ryder. And she's not always the answer. But when she is the answer, it's a good question.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's a good question and a good answer.
So I guess Susie was real. I figured as much.
Well, there was no, that's the thing where I was like, there's no way Dustin would open himself up to the amount of ridicule that creating a fake girlfriend and then making his friends build a radio tower to contact his fake girlfriend. He wouldn't do that to himself. They make fun of him enough without stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I thought it was really cute. I was thinking she was going to be like someone, and she wasn't. But then they just started singing the Neverending Story, and I couldn't contain myself.
Really?
It was so hilarious and cute, and I forgot that Gaten can sing.
With all the like remakes or reboots and stuff, how have we not gotten the Neverending Story off the ground? Like,
oh, nobody wants to watch that horse die again.
No, I understand that, but it doesn't have to be a remake. It needs to be a sequel. The title writes a check that it has yet to cash.
Well, there was a sequel.
I know there was 4, but still, it's never ending, Kristen.
All right. I'll allow it.
No, so Max and Lucas were still having fun, hanging out, being cool. Max got into some trouble. She got a little...
Yeah, well, also, I saw some fan theories that now her stepdad's going to start hitting her. Because Billy was, like, taking... like attention away from her.
Oh, I think that's...
But I don't know how that's going to go, but she's going to have some splaining to do.
Oh, God.
About what happened to Billy.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. Also, rip all of those people. I mean, I figured as much.
Yeah.
But I like said something to my mom. I was like, well, what ended up happening to them? And she was like, they died. And I was like, when? Like, how? And she was like, the news said 30 people were killed in the mall. And I was like, oh, did they just fall apart after they did?
Well, they already did. They fell to goo when the Mind Flayer absorbed them.
Well, yeah, I saw that, but I was like...
I don't think Heather was coming back from that.
No, I don't care. I didn't actually care about her, but it was just like... what did the police, did they like go back to their form? So the police just found a bunch of dead bodies in the or is that part of the conspiracy? Did they just,
I don't know.
Okay. I got it. Don't know. They just said they died there.
Probably. And then, I guess the only other thing is it looks like 11 has run her powers all the way out.
Yeah. I'm curious.
Me too.
I don't have an opinion either way on that because on one hand, I think it would be interesting and I think it would make a fair amount of sense. And on the other hand, I don't know, her just needed to recharge or believe in herself more makes as much sense as anything.
Sure. I mean, this is all, it's whatever rules the Duffer Brothers want there to be. So it could go either way. But I know you don't care as much as me, but I thought it was the cutest shit in the whole world when she was like trying to make him admit that he loved her again and just was like, I love you too, Mike. And then just like peaced out.
Why don't I care about that?
Well, I don't know. You usually don't care about like the romance with the kitties.
Oh. It's the way we word things sometimes. You're right. I don't care about that, but I don't actively discare about it. And so when you I like the way you phrased it. I was like, you thought I was mad about it, and I was like, no,
I don't think you're mad about it. I thought it was so cute.
Oh yeah, I didn't care.
Because when he said it earlier, when he was like, I love her and I don't want to lose her, and I was like, oh my god, it's the little nugget, and then she was like, I love you too, Mike.
It is cute in a they think they're people kind of way.
They are people. They're just little. I love them.
Oh, God. They also played that incredible cover of Heroes by Peter Gabriel.
That is apparently the biggest hint that Hopper's not dead, because they were playing it when they found
the body of Will.
The fake Will in the quarry.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It was so good, because I've had it on my fairy tale playlist for ages, and oh, God, it's so good. But Mayor Klein is in jail.
Carrie Elwes.
The Terminator got terminated.
Yeah. Oh, poor Alexei. We didn't talk much about Alexei.
We didn't.
I liked him so much.
I mean, I don't know where we would go with him.
Of course not.
I mean, I guess he could live in their basement and learn English the way Elle did. I don't know. It was fun.
I loved him and Murray and their like little friendship. That was my favorite part, because Murray was so into him. He liked him so much. It was just everything about it was perfect.
Yeah, honestly, all around, just round of applause. Shout out to the ladies, great ladies. Yeah, because we mentioned that in the beginning, that a lot of times, there's the 5 dudes and then the token girl, and we had a little bit of that. I mean, we had Elle and Nancy in the first season, but it's gotten even better, I think. And Nancy and Jonathan's stuff was fun. They're a little bit on the boring side, but I like Nancy more than I like Jonathan. Yeah,
same. Especially when Jonathan was like gaslighting her for half the season. And it was like, Jonathan, you've been through this twice already. What do you think the chances are that Nancy is lying about this like rat situation? It's clearly gonna be something.
She apparently gets shit done. So.
Yeah. Bitches get stuff done. And like Jonathan was like, Nancy, I think you're overreacting. And I was like, really? Do you? Do you remember when your brother died? It just, I was getting a little annoyed. But yeah, I was really a fan. I loved the ending of this season. Should we not get a season 4? I think it ended in a really great place for the most part, really poignant and melancholy. That being said, we need a season 4. So
yeah, well, we've already gotten, it's guaranteed.
Okay.
It's guaranteed. Okay. I'm putting my foot down. That always bodes well for me when I take a stand on something. So
so I think that's mostly it.
Okay, cool.
Okay, well, as always, you can follow us on Twitter @SoI'mWatching, Instagram @SoI'mWatchingTheShow. We're also on Facebook and Tumblr, So I'm Watching the Show. I suspect Will's going to put Heroes on the Spotify playlist. It's not
on Spotify.
Oh, balls.
Yeah. I'll put the YouTube. We'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, we'll put it in the show notes. Heroes by Peter Gabriel. Yeah. And then other than that, just please rate, review, and subscribe wherever you listen. And that's it for us.
Cool.
Bye.
I can remember standing by the wall, and the guns shout above our heads, and we kiss as though nothing could fall. And the shame is on the other side. Only can beat them forever and ever. And we can be heroes just for one day.